Hi traders, morning. Welcome to another session of Market Snapshot. I hope everyone is doing great. So this week we are looking for opportunities in the market, and especially today we have some high volatile news coming out later at night. But before we get to that, we'll probably be looking at the GBP, BOE, Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking, and we don't expect much coming from him. We've seen now with the AI space growing after DeepSeek, uh, Steimer has decided that they want to focus more on the AIs, right? The revolution, they shouldn't be left behind. And so one of the things they're looking at is bringing on board even immigrants who are experienced experts. By the way, I think if you're looking for a career, it seems like the AI space is a career, is a field that is growing in bounds, and that presents opportunity. So, Governor Bailey will be speaking about the economic conditions in the country, the outlook on inflation, and how the government is addressing unemployment, of course, unemployment and job creation in the country. So those are some of the things that will be seen coming in at around 5:15, but we don't expect much on this one. So the one that will have some volatility is probably at 5:45. We will see the interest rate decision. So the previous number was 3.25%. There's anticipation that it will come down to 3.00%. So this is something that we really want to see how that plays out. However, BOC interest rate statement, now this will be key. Right? This will be key because we'll have now the outcome of their decision. Why did they make the decision to cut to 3.00? What's their outlook on the economy, right? Moving forward, will the economy do so well? What's the outlook in terms of tariffs, right? We've seen now the Trump presidency with his threats on increasing tariffs. What will that mean for the Canadian economy? So those are some of the things that we expect to see in terms of future outlook on where Canada is headed. So we should see the weakening of the Canadian dollar uh, during this news. It could be priced in also, right? It could be priced in. So let's see how that plays out. But it's very important that we look at the press conference and also the rate statement. This is where like we'll have better clues as to how Canada is going to manage that. So if we go to here, this particular uh, page where we are looking at the Canadian indicators, inflation rate has been low, has been reducing, so which could explain why now they are looking at that reduction to 3.00. The inflation rate month on month, you can see how it went down to negative 0.4 in their last announcement. So these are the reasons as to why you've seen rate cuts playing out, right? But however, once it comes to maybe in terms of budgeting due to what's going to play out with the US economy, the tariffs that are expected, then we could see also the GDP growth rate. So if Trump decides to increase rates, right? Sorry, tariffs. You see that will affect the Canadian economy because now the prices of some of the goods they've been exporting to the US will be expensive. And so that will mean when they get to the US economy, they may be too high for the US citizens to buy. So that could affect money that is now in terms of exports, that could affect the Canadian economy. So it's a whole lot of uncertainty that you are in as we've seen what's happening in terms of threats from Trump. Like you saw how Colombia was handled, right? Uh, when they rejected the planes carrying some of their people, Trump immediately told them that there will be some tariffs and even some sanctions, and Colombia had to bow down and allow the citizens come back. So we are in uncertainties in an uncertainty period. So it's very important that as a trader during this time period for you to observe a lot of risk management. Yes, volatility will be there, but then again, make sure that you have your risk management. This is the only thing that will keep you in this business this time during Trump's presidency. So the market has not yet priced in some of the things he's saying. There's no clear-cut directional bias as to where Trump wants the economy to go, in line with even Canada, right? So let's see how that plays out later, and maybe we should see. Based on what we already know, there's a high chance that the Canadian dollar could weaken, right? Based on this, so looking for maybe sell opportunities on anything that has the Canadian dollar as the base currency, right? So that's it on the Canadian dollar. Of course, now the news that majority of traders are waiting for and investors is the 10 p.m. news, Fed rate. So the anticipation is that there will be no change. It will be 4.50. If you look at the Fed watch, right, 99.5% of the people here are saying that it will remain the same within that range of 4.25 to 4.5, right? So we need to look at, let's look at the US indicators. United States supposed to be here. Yeah. So we can see inflation went up, right? So we can see inflation went up to 2.9 from the previous 2.7%. Month on month went up to 0.4%, right? So this, we've seen that we anticipate that these will remain to be 4.5%. Now, what Trump wants to do is reduce some of these things, right? The balance of trade, exports and imports. So he wants to make sure that at some point in time, goods being produced in the US are going outside the US market. So he's favoring interest rate cuts. So if you look at this conversation, Trump says he'll demand that's the word, demand that interest rates drop immediately. So now let's see this particular statement. I'll demand that interest rates drop immediately, Trump said, and likewise, they should be dropping all over the world. Interest rates should follow us all over. Right? The comments represented an initial strike at Fed officials with whom he had a highly contentious relationship during his first term in office. He frequently criticized Chair Jerome Powell, who Trump appointed on occasion, calling policymakers boneheads and comparing Powell to a golfer who can't putt. Stocks reacted slightly positive on the comments. Of course, stocks will be positive because if interest rates go down, then of course the loans come down, right? And so these guys have more capital to probably invest in the AI space, more capital to increase, certain, maybe expand also. So of course, stocks will be happy with such kind of news. With the Dow Jones Industrial Average extending gains as Trump spoke, and the policy sensitive to year Treasury yield edging a bit lower. So we can see that Trump will be looking at rate cuts. But however, if we look at something here, I think it's somewhere. I'd looked at this article. Basically, he has no authority to influence the Fed, right? However, we all know that Trump can go hard, and maybe Powell would resign, and he will have to bring in someone else, right? So let's see how that plays out. But clearly, Trump is looking at a weak dollar. Why? Because of course he wants to have more exports coming out from the US. That's why he's encouraging investors to come into the US so that at least we can have more factories being built in the US, and that creates job employments in the US and more of make America great again, right? Everything, instead of made in China, you have made in the USA. At least that's his game plan. However, if you look at what's happening in terms of immigration, uh, he's removing some of the guys who've been providing cheap labor to the US, right? The Mexicans and all those guys in Latin America, even some of the Africans, right? So that tells you labor could be expensive now. If labor is one of the things you need for production, right? So if labor is expensive, how do you expect products coming from the US to be cheap? As something that you're looking at. Maybe this is where like maybe he wants a weak dollar to counter the immigration thing. Well, it's a wait and see. For us as traders, we just react to news so that at least we are able to have clear data, right? Because during Trump's presidency, you can be sure there'll be a lot of uncertainty until it's priced in and everyone has a clear cut direction as to where the US is headed. So let's see how that plays out. But so far, we are looking at Trump will have his way at some point. But then again, there is the issue of inflation. As long as inflation keeps rearing its ugly head, at some point in time there'll be rate hikes, right? So our work as traders is wait and see how that pans out. So the Fed rate will remain as it is. Actual number is what we'll be waiting. Let's see whether it will be 4.5. If this number comes out lower, then it will be a big surprise. The markets will be volatile. However, it's likely it's unlikely that we'll have that, right? So let's see how that plays out. So we'll want to see the FOMC statement. Why is it that they made the decision to maintain the 4.50? We will see how their comments on the economy in terms of where do they expect the economy to be headed, and what does that mean in terms of inflation, right? If the economy is expected to grow, of course that means inflation will also grow, and what's the outlook on that part, right? And then of course, apart from that, there's the other role of the Fed is employment, right? So the outlook on employment, and those are some of the things that we'll be looking at and see how that plays out. So a lot of volatility will come after this, the FOMC, during the FOMC statement, and of course the press conference. So here he'll have to handle now questions from the different media guys, and from his views is where like you'll see some volatility playing in. So let's see how that plays out. In my experience, if you don't have a trading plan that caters for the news, you might want to sit on your hands. But then again, if you want to trade, make sure that you're using risk management so that you have capital to trade tomorrow. Okay. At times, as traders, we tend to go rushing into the market only for us to blow our accounts, and then tomorrow you don't have your capital when you have clear cut setups. I don't know whether some of you have experienced this, but there are times when you blow your account, that's when you start seeing clear setups playing out, and you're like, my goodness, and you don't have now capital. So capital preservation should be your number one goal, especially during these times of volatility. If you're trading this volatility, make sure that you have a trading plan that tells you when to exit, and of course, most importantly, where to enter. Okay, so that's what we have. So let's go to our charts and try and look at the possible technicals. What are we looking at as we go into, of course, BOC and also FOMC later. So let's see. I'll definitely now, with that understanding of the fundamentals, I'll now go to my MT5. So we'll be looking at NZD USD. What we've seen is that the Kiwi has had some gaps, right? We can see this gap that didn't close. Right, we can see there's a gap over there that hasn't closed, so we expect that this gap will be closed at some point in time, right? And then if you look at think it was yesterday. There's also a gap here from yesterday. See this gap. This is a gap that is yet to be closed also, right? However, let's see where the opportunities will be. So there's a possibility that we could see a strong dollar moving into FOMC, right? So in the meantime, I'm still looking at bearish trades on NZD USD before going long. Yeah, so let's remove those gaps now that we have that understanding that we have some gaps. So if you go to higher time frames, I would want to map out certain areas that I feel will act as support areas. One will be probably 5603, which is 54 pips from the current market price. That's a possible area where NZD USD could be coming to. So I'll be looking at short opportunities. And maybe when we get here is when probably we could be looking for buys. And the first target will be to close this gap, right? So that will be the area I'll be looking at. And we can see an interesting order block here on my left. That was the reason as to why we had this bearish push. Those who've been attending our classes, remember we are having mentorship classes from 11 to 12 p.m. from Monday to Thursday, and order blocks are some of the things we look at. So you can see on my left there was this. Let's remove these so that maybe we can see what is an order block. So an order block is the last. A bearish order block in this example is the last bearish candle, the last bullish candle before a major move down that broke structure. So we can see this structure was broken, right, to form a new structure here. So what led to that? It's this candle here, this last bullish candle. You can see this the blue candle, right? So if we go to our left, we will see that price came to that particular area. Look at that. Price pinned that last week, and from there, sellers have stepped in, right? Why? Because a bearish order block is an area where you have sellers. So this drop of around so far almost 76 pips was because of that bearish order block. So I'll want to see a bearish push and then now look for buy opportunities on NZD USD. Let's look at GBP USD. Okay, so now we also have GBP USD. What's the outlook like? I'm also looking at a bearish push on GU. So I'll want it to test this order block also, 2344. That's a possible area where we could see GU come to. Either that area or somewhere around here. Any one of these areas will act as areas of support, 2371, 2344. Right? Those are areas where I would want to see one, because why? I would want to see the last, this is a bullish order block, the last bearish candle before a major move up that broke this structure. So this is a possible area that we could see GU coming to, 2371. That's around what? Is it 70? 73 pips. Yeah, 73 pips. So that is an area that probably would want to see GU come to. And then if I were to look for take profit targets, I would want to map out there. So I would probably now go for buys on this one to that price level. So maybe this push could play out today as we go into FOMC, and then maybe maybe look for buys. Yeah, so that's a possible outlook on this particular asset, GBP USD. Let's look at Euro USD. So when we look at Euro USD, what are we looking at? I'll still want to look at higher time frames to identify some possible areas of support before uh, taking this trade. So one of the areas I'll probably be interested to see how price reacts to is this area around here. 1.0333. That's a possible area. Remember, as we go into the news, we could see a lot of spiking, right? We could see market push down. Yeah. That or this area here. $1.0379. Those are two areas I have mapped out as possible areas of support on this particular asset. So, of course, the target will be the testing of this weekly high. So this is a possible push we could have before a bullish push. Okay, that or even during news we could see a spike, a possible spike to this low. Yeah, so let's see how price reacts to these particular uh, areas. The other thing we could probably be looking at is UT100. So we can see UT100, there's a gap that was occasioned by DeepSeek. We all know the new conversation in town in the AI space, DeepSeek, that has outperformed all the other AIs, Meta's, ChatGPT, and yet it's according to the Chinese guys behind it, it's 90% cheaper, right? So that led to the crashing of tech stocks. Even in Japan, SoftBank took a hit, right? So this is what happened to Nasdaq. Remember, Nasdaq is an index; it's a basket of technology companies. So they were really affected by that news coming out from China. So this gap will close at some point in time. We can see the comeback on this particular trade. So we'll want to see how UT100 performs. Sorry, but I'm still bullish on UT100. So this was just some retracement and then a rebound of the same. So if I were to look for opportunities on UT100, it will definitely be buys. Right? Remember, we still have this high from December, so we should see that play out. More of the AI is coming out. More of DeepSeek is coming out. We've had situations where the US Navy, I think it was the US Navy, it has banned its employees from using DeepSeek due to, of course, data protection. It's a Chinese thing, so they are afraid that some military information could get out there. So we will see how that plays out in the next coming days. However, a rebound of the tech stocks has already happened. If you go to Nvidia, for example, here, you can see after this drop, the biggest loss in the history of Nvidia, we can see it staged a comeback, right? This was a good comeback yesterday. So let's see, because the drop was 17%. A whole 17% meant That's serious money that was lost, right? So let's see how that plays out. However, we are still bullish on UT100. Okay, any other asset that we've not looked at? NZD USD, GBP USD, USD card. Let's look at USD card in light of BOC. So we need to look at where we are currently and see what could possibly play out as we move into the news later. So we can see a lot of, it seems like to be some resistance playing out here. However, I'll still be bullish on USD card. I remember I shared this sometime last week. I'm still waiting for USD card to push all the way to 46.67. The test of this high from June is a possible area where we could see USD card go to. So I'm looking for buys. I'm still bullish, and this could fall in line with the weakening of the Canadian dollar, right? Courtesy of that 3.0 announcement, if it plays out as per what we have on the calendar. So I'm still bullish on that particular trade. What else would we want to look at? Have we looked at gold? Not yet. So what about gold? So we need to look at it from higher time frames. Where are we? So when you look at gold, it's still screaming buy. However, I would want to see a test of the lows before taking buys. Probably I would want to see gold test out these lows, maybe yesterday's low before going up. Yeah, so maybe that low before pushing up. To test last week's high. So that's what I would want to see on gold. Let's see how it reacts to this Asian high or yesterday's high, because you can see a good reaction here. You can see price today tested yesterday's high, and there was that bearish push of around how many pips? Of 82 pips, 78 pips, right? So remember, this is one of the strategies that we train in the masterclass. Those who are in Eldoret, we had a look at these, and I talked about these areas where you look for opportunities to buy or sell. So in this case, we can see gold tested yesterday's high, and we can see that dip. You can see, look at the candle currently, what we have on the chart. Once again, look at this candle. At one point in time was blue. These were buyers who had pushed all the way up. If you go to M5, then you should have that. You can see buyers were quite strong. But then, courtesy of yesterday's high, we can see the reaction of sellers coming in. Why? Because yesterday's high is an area where you look for opportunities to sell. However, overall, I'm still bullish, just like the other assets, these ones, where we're looking for sell opportunities right now, but later maybe looking for buys. Yeah, so that's it. We've looked at UT100, we've looked at gold, we've looked at NZD USD, we've looked at GBP USD, Euro USD, USD CAD. Any question? Remember, we are coming to Kakamega. Anyone from Kakamega will be coming on the 7th of next month at Golf Hotel, right? Golf Hotel is where we'll be coming. So kindly visit FX Pesa social media handles. We will have a registration link where you can participate. Any question? Let's have a look at your questions. What happens? Okay, what happens? The high impact news released is against the trend. Otori, this is why remember I said have a plan. Okay, have a plan. Stick to the plan. Right. If your plan tells you you're looking for buys, then you might want to evaluate that once the news come out. So you're able to see, are the buys still valid? No. Is this in line with, is this something that I can change? Yes, in light of maybe new data. No, I'm still sticking with my buy. So it's always good to have that plan based on whatever we've just discussed. Like there's a high chance, of course, during the FOMC statement is what will really define where we expect some of these assets to go to, right? Because it's already priced in that there will be no change, right, in terms of interest rate decision. So uh, stick to your plan, stick to your trading plan. Any chance of gold testing Monday's high before selling? Monday's high, it's cold, it's cold. That's Monday's high. It's the weekly high. It's cold. However, at this point in time, I would probably want to see it drop from where it is currently, right? Rather than test this high. But nothing stops gold from going all the way. Nothing stops it. But I would want to see more of gold dropping from where we are. Euro USD, GBP USD. I've already shared my outlook on these ones. That one, Trapscade. I've already shared the outlook on GBP USD and of course Euro USD. GBP NZD, GBP AUD. Let's have a look at them. So I'm just mapping out areas of support. No, so areas of resistance. So if you look at NZD, sorry, not NZD, GBP AUD, I'll probably be looking at intraday. What's the outlook like? Okay, so I'll want to see this particular trade first hit 1.9995. So I'll still be bullish a test of that area, and then from there probably we should see some bears to test Monday's low. Monday's low. So my analysis on GA will be that bullish push and then maybe a bearish push for around 227 pips. That is what I would want to see on GA. So a bullish push for the next 50 pips, and then probably from there I can look at that bearish push of around 225 pips. GN, do I really have it here? No. So so you can see they're almost behaving the same way, right? So let's go to higher time frames. So I'm looking for possible areas of resistance. I would want to see GN follow GA because they move the same way in most cases. Like for example, you can see on H4, you can see this double bottom, right? Look at H4, GN also, it has a double bottom, almost same way, right? So they tend to follow each other. So I'm looking at my left. I want to see an area of resistance on my left that I can work with. $20.37. Probably I would want to see GN test that high. Test this high before considering any bearish push. And the bearish push will be a test of Monday's low, just like we've seen on GA. So you can see what I've been talking about. Yesterday's high acting as an area of resistance, right? So what kind of help do you need? I'm facing a lot of challenges in my trading. What kind of help, Amos? We have a mentorship session. I think that's the only way I can help you. Attend the mentorship session every Monday to Thursday from 11 to 12 p.m. As we speak, there's a mentorship class that's ongoing. However, if your problem is basics, if you don't have an understanding of trading, maybe you rushed to make money and then you lost money, you might want to start the beginners class from 8 to 9 p.m. right? Monday to Thursday. Kindly reach out to support@fxpesa.com, or towards the end I'll be sharing my email. You can send me an email and let me know that, hey Robert, I'm interested in the classes. I'm interested in either the beginners class, you want to fine-tune some beginners knowledge, or the mentorship class. Like you're good, you already have the basics, you know what's a bullish market, what's a bearish market, what's a candle, so but now you want a strategy and some risk management, trading psychology. Maybe you have a lot of greed, or in discipline. That's what we get to discuss in the mentorship session. Okay, that's the outlook I would have on GBP NZD. So we've seen they're behaving the same way with GA, right? You can see this area of support, double. This is a triple top, triple bottom, right? 3 hits to the low. 1, 2, 3. So if you go to GA, the same. 1, 2, 3. But this one was based on a moving average. So once again, remember those who've been attending the beginner session and even advanced, I told you the power of moving averages, right? If you use them in the right context, with understanding, then they can help you identify trade opportunities, right? As we can see from here, the 50 EMA acting as resistance, here the 800 EMA acting as support. Okay, that's it. So I'll still want to see a bullish push before that bearish play. Euro JPY, as we finalize Euro JPY, I don't, they are a bit over here. Interesting, I can see a gap that is yet to be filled up. You can see this gap. This gap will have to be filled up at some point. So maybe this could happen today. Remember, if you look at Euro JPY, it could be moving courtesy of Euro USD later. So if Euro USD, we are looking at bullish opportunities, this could also play out during that time. So let's go to higher time frames. Maybe let's have a clear understanding of where we are. One, two, three. So we can see a lot of ranging playing out over here. So I'm trying to identify areas of support. $160.87. Yeah, so if I were to look for opportunities maybe on NZ, sorry, on why am I all about NZD? I think, sorry guys, I have a position on NZD, so I keep saying NZD somewhere. So I would want to see a bearish push, and then we can now see a bullish push to close this gap and even test uh, last week's high. Yeah, so probably that's what I would want to see on EJ. Is your mentorship free? Yes, this is courtesy of FX Pesa. You're our client, so we take care of you, right? I think that's it. Is there any question I might have missed? Once again, recap. Thanks to everyone who attended the Eldoret event. I'm sure if you attended the Eldoret event, please share your comments. Tell us, did you learn something? How was it? On 7th, we are coming to Kakamega Golf Hotel. Golf Hotel in Kakamega will be coming on 7th. Thika, if you're from Thika, we are coming on 21st February, right? More details will be on our social media handles. Next month, Nyeri Embu, right? We are coming. So just be prepared. Our team of traders will be there, and be prepared with your questions. I'm so sure that you'll get to learn a lot, and we'll also learn from you. Okay. So I think that's it. I'm glad I was able to host this session. Thank you for everyone who's participated. Sorry, I'm supposed to share my email, right? So if you're interested in joining any one of those sessions, the mentorship session or the advanced session, here's my email. Okay, where is it? Here's my email. Shoot me an email, robert.mbogo@fxpesa.com. Let me know that, hey, I'm interested in joining the mentorship session. I feel that I'm struggling with some risk management, trading psychology. I'm greedy, I have fear. I always take trades I'm not supposed to trade, in discipline. Join the mentorship class and you'll be good to go. If you're a beginner, you're still struggling with what is a PEEP, what is leverage, how to buy, where to sell, basics to join that one. And I'll definitely just send me an email and I'll send you the link to those particular sessions, and also some notes, right? You need some notes. That's it, guys. Bye bye. Cheers.